Welcome everyone. It's our live Q&A session. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to throw them in the chat. I will get to them as I see them come up. If you're watching on the replay or on our YouTube channel, feel free. You can still throw questions in the comment section. We'll get to them in the following week's live Q&A on our Facebook page. So, question that has come up, get this a fair amount of times, especially if I'm out and about and people find out what I do. Question is, if I'm taking a GLP-1, so something like Ozempic, Tirzepatide, or Wegovy, why do I still need to work out? Because with those products, weight loss becomes very, very easy without having to work out. The answer to that is a couple of different factors. If you want to lose weight and you've checked with your doctor, it's approved for you, everything, by all means, you can use it to assist in weight loss. However, reason why your strength training and your exercise is still important is because of the other health effects that you get with your workouts outside of weight management. The GLP-1 products are very good at helping with appetite control and therefore helping people lose weight. I strongly encourage that you work on your nutrition habits while you have that assistance, because making the healthier, better choices will be much easier while you're using those products. And from there, it'll be easier to develop new healthy habits to set you off on the right foot going forward, should you hit a point where a doctor says it's okay and ready to come off the medication. Whereas if you're not making any changes, just like any other program, once that stops, you're more likely to revert to old habits at that point, because all you've done is changed how much you were eating because of the portion control medication rather than changing habits. So just a thought there from the eating side of things. With your exercise. So what these products are not doing is they're not helping you preserve lean muscle tissue. They're not helping you build strength, stability, balance, and coordination. They're not helping you from a cardiovascular standpoint at most levels. So the things that we think about beyond health, when it comes to longevity, obviously losing weight is going to help you with your diabetes prevention. Obviously, most of these products started as diabetes medications for that purpose, but things like blood pressure, cholesterol, which leads us into heart health, cancer risks, other factors of disease, especially when it comes to insulin sensitivity. Muscle is a big factor of helping with that, especially for metabolic purposes. So preserving lean muscle tissue is very important when we're trying to lose weight. The reason for that is because when the body is trying to make accommodations, because we've put these demands on it that it's causing it to have to lose mass, it has choices of fat or muscle, and oftentimes it becomes inclined to choose muscle because it does two things for it. One, burning off the muscle will meet the energy demands that it has from the deficit created, and it also make tomorrow's demands less because of how metabolically active muscle tissue is. The problem being is as you burn more and more muscle, now we're less metabolically active. So it's going to be harder to keep the weight off at the end of your weight loss pursuit if we lose too much muscle along the way. So doing strength training will help preserve the lean muscle tissue, because when your body's being challenged on a regular basis, it's going to look and say, well, I'd like to get rid of this, but my environment is so demanding that I can't afford to burn off muscle tissue, and it helps incline it to stay focused on fat burning instead. You do still need to make sure your protein intake is up in order to maximize that effect, because if you're not meeting your protein needs, the body will still just burn off the muscle along the way. The other factors are from building your strength, your stability, your balance and coordination. Those are things that weight loss alone is not really going to touch. So if you look at people in your family in old age and you see a lot of shuffling, a lot of cane or walker need, struggles getting up and out of chairs on their own, struggles just moving around in general, you need to prioritize your strength training and your other movement throughout the week in order to make sure you maintain the strength to keep yourself mobile, keep yourself stable, prevent falls, so you can keep your independence long into retirement. The loss of strength and muscle that we see in old age is primarily due to disuse, but a lot of that is also paired with our societal obsession with weight loss. If you're not doing strength training and you're trying to do multiple different things to lose weight, muscle loss is going to occur. Muscle loss also occurs when we're just not using it. So maybe you're not trying to lose weight, but you've been inactive for the past decade. You've lost muscle along the way. Probably anywhere from 5 to 10% of what your muscle mass was a decade ago. And it'll continue at that rate every decade if you don't do something to start stimulating the muscle, putting the demands on the tissue to preserve and or build it up. So those are big factors there. Other factors from a metabolic standpoint, the more muscle you have, the easier it is to manage your blood sugar. It's easier to stimulate needs for hormone development, and not just sex hormones like your testosterone, estrogen, progesterone, but other hormones in the sense of your thyroid balance, insulin and glucagon balance, your body's ability to repair from human growth hormone stimulation from trying to build the muscle. So your tissues stay more regenerative because of this. All of that's important for healthy aging, because if your muscles are degenerating, odds are a lot of the rest of your body is too, because we're not stimulating that regeneration process enough. Mental well-being. Increased blood flow and circulation helps all your tissues, not just your muscle tissues. So brain health, prevention of Alzheimer's, dementia, other things related to that. Exercise is shown to have a strong effect for that. So yes, you can lose weight just using the GLP-1 medications, but we're not stimulating the other benefits with exercise that come along the way. So keeping that, the neural coordination, neural stimulation, so you can maintain awareness, maintain ability, mental coherence well into old age is a huge factor of being regularly active. And that's a big thing that gets ignored a lot. So and the beauty is it doesn't take much to stimulate it. Twice a week, 30-minute strength training is kind of the sweet spot of, it's manageable to fit in your schedule, but you get a huge return on investment for it. Yeah, you can do more and you'll get more out of it, but if just doing that has a 15 to 30% reduction in all morbidity caused in studies, so why not invest that hour a week for yourself? You pair that with some, basic walking or activity. That can be anything from playing with your kids, going for a walk, dancing, biking, doing a major household chore each day to get your heart, get you moving, some sort of daily movement. Really all you need to see these benefits. So it doesn't take much, just puts a little focus, a little change in how we approach our schedule in our life, and setting new standards for ourselves of these are things that I do on a regular basis, making them non-negotiable to make sure that they happen, putting them on the schedule rather than just hoping that time presents itself to do it, because more often than not, the time just never shows up. So you've got to be diligent in creating that schedule and allowing the time to make it a priority. If you can't do that from the get-go, you can start small, 5 minutes here, 5 minutes a couple of days a week, build on that. It goes a long way, because something's always going to be better than nothing at all with these pursuits. And then you can build on those successes as you achieve little by little. Making that improvement goes a long way versus just choosing not to pursue it because we can't get to the ultimate when we first start. So don't let that be an obstacle for you. And remember, it is important to still pair the exercise with the GLP-1 products if you're using them, And the beauty is when you pair them together, if you're taking a GLP-1 and you're doing your exercise on a regular basis, it's going to enhance and be an additive, if not an exponential effect of the positive outcomes that we're looking for. The weight loss is going to be better because it's going to be all body fat instead of a little bit of fat and muscle. Metabolic improvement is going to be all across the board instead of just on blood sugar management. So any health risks that you're concerned with are going to drastically improve, if not diminish or completely eliminate. And because you're using the GLP-1s to make better nutrition choices, it's easier to feed your muscles, so it's easier to see the development both in the muscle strength, size, and ability that you can achieve, because now you're not distracted with the temptations of eating the wrong foods that don't nourish your muscle. So you get the best on all fronts if you pair them together. So if you are choosing to use a GLP-1 product, it's definitely beneficial to go ahead and pursue the exercise with it. In a lot of ways, it'll become easier because as you're losing weight easier, doing a lot of the movement, it becomes easier the less weight that you have. So it can be very beneficial to start stacking those effects as you're losing weight. It's easier to go for a walk. It's easier to do some strength training. So start adding and pursuing it. Even if you've already been on it for a little bit, it's okay to get started with movement now and start making those changes. For whatever reason, if you find yourself still kind of stuck, struggling, you need some additional accountability for that, that's what we're here for. We've got in-person, remote programs, whatever level that you need to help with guidance and accountability to be successful with your pursuits. That's what we're here to support. Otherwise, I hope the tips and everything help. If you have other questions, throw them in the comments. We'll follow up with them as we see them throughout the week. We had one come in off of last week's video. Basically, follow-up question when we're talking about using GLP-1s. They asked, what are the after effects metabolically when you come off of the GLP-1s? At this point, there's no known direct continual effects. Now, obviously, when we were using the GLP-1s, the main purpose is improving blood sugar control, and then weight loss is one of the other effects that's seen with use. From there, we also see cardiovascular benefits improve, and then depending on the level of obesity in the individual, we can even see liver health improve due to the decrease of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease diminishing. Other effects that we see after use of it, this isn't necessarily an ongoing cause. It's usually what happens during the use of the product itself. Piggybacking on what we talked about last time, where the best way to use these is doing the right habit changes with the medication tool. So making the healthy nutrition choices, implementing exercise and activity, including strength training as part of your lifestyle, are going to help not only maximize your results, but it's going to maximize how well you feel afterwards. Because what can happen if you're not doing those proper changes, we often see muscle loss, which reduces your metabolic rate, which makes it harder to keep weight in check. So what essentially happens is you've made it more difficult to maintain the weight loss because too much of the weight that you lost came from muscle mass rather than being just fat mass. This is the reason why doing the strength training and then doing proper nutrition to support the muscle tissue retention is so important, because we want the body to maintain that muscle mass, just burn fat. That way metabolically you're at the same, if not better, potentiation at the end of your use of the GLP-1 product. Other factors, because of that, we see a lot of times weight regain. Just like any weight loss pursuit, if you're not doing the right things and we lose too much muscle mass, that's the cause of the weight gain. Your lower metabolism. We go back to poor nutrition choices because we didn't focus on habits. We just focused on using it as an appetite suppressant. So you don't have the right habits and behaviors in place to support maintaining that weight loss. All we know is how to go back to what we were doing before, because we no longer have the suppression of appetite, helping us keep that in check. So weight regain is a big factor that can occur. Going along with, if you're not making the right nutritional choices and changes when you're using these, because you're eating less, if you're not eating nutrient-rich foods, we can see nutrient deficiencies develop. One of the main concerns with this is the potential loss in bone density, because if you're not getting enough of the minerals like calcium, magnesium, and other factors that go into bone development and health, your body has to get it from somewhere, and that's one of the primary sources. Is if you're not getting it dietarily, your body will go to your bones for those minerals instead. So making sure you are doing the right types of foods that are high in nutrient density, high in vitamins, to support your body's health, not just during the weight loss, but long term. Those are the main things. So a lot of the things, really, when you look at like a lot of the scares of these are the negative side effects and things like that. Everyone's heard about the gastric distress and upset and nausea. All of the things that we've discussed here today primarily are a factor of not making good nutritional choices. If you don't nourish your body properly, it's not going to perform good. It's not going to feel good. It's not going to digest well either. So to minimize and reduce any of these potential down effects, just making the better choices diminishes most of these negative aspects pretty drastically, except for a small percentage of individuals. So the main takeaway that I would want you guys to think about here is that, yes, it's a very effective weight loss medication, and more developments coming out every year in this field. However, it is still primarily a tool to making the healthy lifestyle choices and changes easier to follow through with. Use it, that 90-day window. Some people need a little more, some people can do it sooner, but 90 days on average to create habit and behavior change in your routines, your lifestyle, your choices, how you choose to cope with stress. All of those factors play into long-term health and long-term maintained weight loss. You still have to do the work there. It's just these GLP-1 products make it easier to follow through with that by diminishing the hunger drive, by diminishing food noise, making it easier to choose the healthier items, to choose more portion control. Because for a lot of people, especially with a major appetite drive, hunger drive, you can choose to eat healthy things, but keeping the portion control is still a challenge. This helps with that. And by retraining your appetite of, this is the actual moderate amount that I can work with, feel nourished with, and get by. Building up the habit of your exercise so we can help rev your metabolism a little more effectively makes it easier to maintain that weight loss long term without ending up dependent upon the product medication to make those decisions easier forever. If you work on the habits, work on your lifestyle in a form of your environment being more conducive to the healthy habits, it will make it easier to sustain. So those would be the biggest factors to kind of consider in that question. Again, the question was, what are the kind of metabolic after effects of using the GLP-1 products? So just some things to kind of take into consideration. Really, the thing always comes down to, in this realm right now, you still have to work on making the healthy habit lifestyle choices part of your lifestyle and routine. Even though these products are very effective at helping with appetite control, it's It's not a magic pill in the sense that it's not doing all the work for you. It's just making the decisions that need to be made easier to make in this pursuit. And that goes for just about any sort of aspect of things. If you need help, that's what it's there for. But you still have to make the healthy choices in order to really get the most out of use of the medication, just during the weight loss period, but also to really maximize your long-term health after use of the product itself as well. Um, just some things to kind of consider. Think about. If you have other follow-up questions on that, feel free to throw them in the comments. We'll answer them in future episodes. Otherwise, have a great week, and remember to stay persistent in your consistent pursuit of health.